Hey guys, so I wanted to make a very candid video. So I filmed one that took about like 23 minutes and then realized that it needs to be 15 minutes to go on IGTV. So guess what? This is rehearsed now. So anyway, just gonna see what comes out now. But wanted to share that I don't know. I woke up this morning feeling like, you know what, why don't you just do a little video and introduce yourself to your community? Let them know who you are a little bit and like what got you to where you are right now. So I'm going to try to condense this story as much as possible. I wanted to talk about my spiritual journey, like how I got where I am, kind of how I got whatever, right? But just, I guess to start, my name is Vanessa Baltodano, born and raised in LA, California, still in the area. Daughter of two Nicaraguenses that met in LA. Both parents are now deceased. Both parents deceased before I was 30 years old. And that definitely made an impact on my spiritual journey. So I cried on my first video, so I might save you from that, but no guarantees. Born and raised Catholic, as you may assume, but not like a soft Catholic. It was pretty forced upon us, especially when my dad was around. So my dad was in and out of the home, which is a whole other story, and I won't get into here. But whenever he was around, he definitely wanted to use Catholicism, church, religion as a way of manipulating and of instilling fear upon us, way of controlling. Absolutely. So already in that sense, it was something that was a very negative experience. And I'm going to give two examples of how he did this that still sit with me. One, when he was around, and I remember we were on school vacation, and I think I was like 6 years old. He purchased the encyclopedia to the Bible and assigned me to read the first section and write a report on it. I had no idea what I was reading. I had no clue, no idea. But every day, every morning made sure, what are you reading? Okay, your report's due on this day. It still makes me want to cry, because it was very, very fearful. That the home was very fear-based when he was around. So, second part was, we lived by a church at one point. We moved around a lot. And now he was like, there's no excuses. You guys live right next to the church. And today you're going to go to the church and you're going to tell me what I expect you to come back and tell me pretty much verbatim what the sermon was about. Because then I'll know that you were paying attention. And I want you guys to bring me the pamphlet for the church so I can read it myself and make sure. And it was funny because he would make us do things he wouldn't do himself. So that was a whole other thing. So experience with Catholicism was very much like, I rejected that so bad. I didn't want anything to do with it. My relationship with God was very, very confusing. So, my connection with spirituality ever since I was a little girl was dreams. And they weren't very pleasant. A lot of nightmares, experiences with spirits in the house, whether you believe that or not, does not matter to me. I know what I experienced. prophetic dreams, but nobody really nurturing that, not really knowing what to do, even though it was something that, the elders talked about amongst themselves, but it was never talked about with children, even though they knew I was going through nightmares. It was not something that was nurtured or talked about, or didn't really know they probably didn't even know what to do themselves. So this isn't like to shame them. It's just what it was, So for me, spirituality was really those two things. It was like me having these vivid and sometimes prophetic dreams, and nightmares. And then the other side was like this connection with God that I didn't really want to have because I was so confused, and it was pushed down with all these other underlying negative vibrations, right? So, still dreaming all through my life, and even through substance abuse, it really came onto a head when my dad passed away. The dreams started to change. Now there were spirit guides that were making themselves very, very obvious and known. My dad started coming through in my dreams and giving me messages, even prepared me a little bit in certain ways about my mom's passing. And at one point had this like desire to reconnect with God. And the only example that I had that was acceptable was the Catholic Church. So I was like, okay, well, I feel like I'm being called to do this, and this is the only thing that I understand, and the only examples that I had around me. I'm going to go to the Catholic Church. And when I was young, I didn't finish my first communion, didn't do confirmation, although my siblings did. So with me, it just like, I don't know, they just dropped the ball on a lot of things, dropped the ball, whatever. They just stopped with things with me on a lot of different things. Like I didn't learn how to ride a bike until I was like 30 or something, 32. Anyway, that's a whole other story. But just to give you an example, like they just stopped things with me. And so I never finished that. But then after my dad passed, I would say about 1 or 2 years after that, I was being called to go into something spiritual. And the only thing I knew was Catholicism. So I went back to the church. I decided to do my confirmation, do my communion. I did that. I was like, okay, well, this is starting to resonate at some sense. Like there's something greater because my dreams are showing me something. My guides are coming through. And this was my way of kind of starting my seeking path, like seeking the answer. Maybe it's here. Maybe if I connect with God in this way that I've been shunning for so long, that the answers will come through or come true or come forth. And it's not, now that I think about it, it's not like it didn't. Like that was the start of my path. And after my mom passed, things changed. My dreams still intense, still coming through, but now there was direction. Now there was something, there were guides telling me exactly where to go, when to do things, and to face certain fears. And after my mom passed was when I was led to meet my first non-religious spiritual mentor, who considered herself to be a shaman and a witch. Those were the things that she titled herself to be. And so, she spoke about dreams, and I was like, okay, this is it. Oh my God, somebody that knows what I'm talking about. And that was the thing that really connected us. But also, when you're starting on at least for me, when I started on my spiritual journey, it was like, I was so naive. I didn't know what was right, what was wrong. I didn't even know my inner compass, like how that even worked, what resonated. I just knew there was something, like I knew I had this intuition, but I didn't really know, like how to navigate that, like between what you want versus what is actually true. And so with that, I was with my mentor at that time, introduced me to all these amazing people. I mean, it was really a blessing to meet her and to meet the coven and be part of a coven and do ritual. But the coven was different because it was eclectic. everyone came from different paths. Not everybody was like Wiccan, you know, there was, you know, voodoo, hoodoo, there were Native Americans, like it was eclectic. So I was like, this is amazing, because I was still trying to figure out like, what am I? I don't know, this whole title thing, right? Like, who am I? What am I doing? All that stuff. Like, anyway, but from that experience, I really got a lot of contrast from that about what I didn't want. I'm not going to go into the details about that, but I had to separate myself from that, like, I don't know, what do you call it? Just like that bubble, that bubble that was there. I had to separate because something wasn't resonating, and everything else in my life was really pointing and like, you need to be disconnected. This isn't truly, it's already served its purpose, really, is what I got from that. And a lot of the things I, you know, experienced the tower, you know, in tarot, like that is happening a lot for me since I started. But I'm finding it to be a blessing, because it's now like, let's rebuild, let's go and start and do something different. So those people that I got in touch with, and those teachers, some of them who I still, you know, learn from still, even in distant form, you know, are gifts, because they serve to show me what resonated and also what didn't. And the contrast is just as powerful. I talk about this in Dreamers Council. What doesn't resonate serves just as powerful as what does. And so from that, I had to take a break to rebuild my life, and then reconnected with Naha and 22 Teachings, because she was one of my first teachers when I started on my path about 6 years ago. And now it's opened up this whole other, now this serves me in a different way, because now it's nurtured my way of being a seeker and still discovering who I am. I don't title myself anything. I don't say I'm like a witch, a shaman. I don't like to do that, because I feel like it really constricts me as opposed to expands me. I'm still figuring things out, and I feel like I don't like to label it restricts my expansion. So now, through that path, I was able to nurture all of the things that I wanted to learn. First things I learned was, you know, crystals, and how that helps all of us, how they're here to be co-creative. Tarot was something I was terrified of because I grew up as a hardcore Catholic who said that is evil. And my guides pushed me to face that. They told me in a dream that it was one of the things I needed to do. And that's how tarot came into it. That's a whole other story, which I'm coming up on 13 minutes, guys, so I got to wrap it up. And so, yeah, tarot, Reiki, newly introduced now. Dreams is really the cornerstone, like the foundation of everything that I do. But the point I guess I want to make, if there is a point in this story, is that I'm still discovering who I am. I think we all are. I encourage you to not just keep yourself in one space unless it really resonates with you. Not because everyone else says that you need to be that, or that's what it is, and you know, you're a witch, and because you do all of those things. Like I encourage you to explore it all, because there's so much that this world has experienced, will experience, is experiencing, and can do it through you. So thanks for listening, hearing my story. As brief as it was, I tried to condense it as much as possible, and hopefully this will help you, I don't know, do whatever the video is going to do, whatever it needs to do for anyone. But right now, what it's coming up for me is to help you reflect on you and your story. Everyone's story is unique to them. And just maybe create space to love yourself and to keep learning who you are. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, take care, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening. Love you.